Hey Noodlers, I made this nifty address autofill in Noodle. So this is not a custom component, rather it's a prefab. And as you can see, when you start typing in, it'll filter as you'd expect an address to show up here. So it'll behave as a normal address autofill would. Now there's a few nifty things. One, this can give us latitude, longitude. Another is this is able to put out the address as a string and as an object. So let's take a look at the basic elements, which is really quick. You have the entire component right here, text input and error text. And now in the script, which you can see is run once the text input has mounted, we have at the top some initialization. So this is setting the bounds of addresses that the box will return, although it won't always respect this perfectly, as something to know about Google. Now, this component is actually made using Google stock scripts. I'll show you where that is installed, but this is all pretty much out of the box. Out of the box, what was happening is when I would select the address, it would output the correct address, but it wasn't actually updating the text in the input. So this is what I added to fix that up. We have a listener right here, listening for place change. And on place change, selection is going to become autocomplete.getPlace, which is the method that we invoke to retrieve the selection. I'm creating an address by doing a join of what's returned in the selection array under address component. I'm creating an address by doing a join of what's returned in the selection array under address components. And you can see the data structure once you have this set up. And the location itself, I'm pulling as well. So that's really about it. We output the selection, output the address string, latitude, longitude. And also I've put out a signal that an address has been selected. Now I can't actually remember if I'm using, but I either thought I would or I am, and we'll see it at the next level. So the other things that are going on here, we have a switch to toggle if we're in an error state or not. And if we are, we're going to put on this little piece of text, but you guys probably know how to do that. Some things that I ended up putting in, you can see plugging in an error message to this text as well, because I had some processes outside where that felt useful. We have error text on, error text off, and so on. And out here, basically outputting everything, and selection gets outputted as the address object here. So we were talking about that. So we can easily see what's in here, address components. And this is why I had to do that join, and geometry location where you can get the latitude, longitude. All right. So now if we go up one level, means there's a whole wacky bunch of things going on. But if we take a look at the address input, there's a couple of things. We have the latitude and longitude being taken away. Error text is coming in from this guy right here. So we can do the field validation. When we hit the button at the end, I've done manual validation here because I thought I was going to outsmart using forms. And now I see why we would use forms. It ended up taking a lot of effort to create my own manual field validation here. Essentially, that's how it's all working. I told you I would show where the initial script is hiding. So let's take a look at that. If we head on over to our project settings and look at the head code, then while there may be other ways to do this, when you want to import a library, you can go ahead and do it just as I've done here. Now, this requires a callback, although I don't believe specifically that I did. And I was getting an error because it was calling back a function that had no callback. So what I went ahead and did was just created this function right up here, which is console logging something. So that closed the loop and prevented the error from happening. I will admit that I'm not too sure what the callback is meant for, or if I broke something as a result of that, but everything seems to be running happily. Now, this is a one-page e-commerce app. So there's a whole bunch of other things that I'd be happy to talk about if anyone is curious. Otherwise, here's how you can implement an address input with autofill connected to Google Maps API.